Dabbed in Ink presents.
Warning. The Hear It in Horror podcast is a review podcast that is full of spoilers of the first few episodes of the shows that we discuss. If you do not like spoilers, please pause and go listen to the show. We announce ahead of time what show is discussed in the next episode, or you can check it out in the show notes. We'll be here when you're done. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Hear It in Horror podcast, where we dive into the depths of horror audio fiction to tell you if it's worth your nightmares. What we heard in horror this week was episodes 1 and 2 of The Custodians, created by So Gross Productions. This show is a monthly release, just started this past June, so we can definitely say we found them early on. The Custodians centers around a group of demon hunters operating out of a high school, whose millennia-long goal is to find demons and lock them away in the void. When paranormal enthusiast and high schooler Sam Evans comes along and breaks the seal, all hell breaks loose. Let's see how our panelists feel about this one. We're going to start with the person that caused a car accident despite not being in a car at the time. Who do we think that is?
Ooh.
Jessica.
I'm going to say
car
Allonte.
accident vibes?
I just saw your face twitch.
That smile, she just cut the brake lines, but she wasn't in the car.
No, it was more like you were on the phone and then you just said something shocking and they're like, oh my God, and just bridged
No, you're
away.
right. It is me.
Ooh, okay.
It was nothing so silly. I was walking to the grocery store. I was like 19 maybe. And like this truck had like pulled forward like over the sidewalk a little bit to pull out. So I'm standing there like a normal human to wait for him to like turn, or, you know, maybe I'll go behind the big old truck or whatever. And then he sees me and he gives like a little wave and I'm like, and then he's like, and so he starts like backing up to like make room so I can walk on the sidewalk. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Except there was another car behind him. So he backs up. I hear a crunch. I'm already like past at this point. I'm like, do I stop? Am I part of this? Do I need to exchange insurance information? I'm a teenager. I don't know what to do. So I just walked to the grocery store.
Buddy. Aw.
Left that behind. Left that in the dust. So if you're out there, dude, I'm sorry.
Mm.
Thanks for being nice. I'm sorry I ruined it.
They're gonna find you now.
I was really expecting like a Seinfeld moment, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
And our host is gone.
Later.
No, our host. Morgan?
Host?
Morgan?
Okay, there we go.
Jack?
Host.
Hey.
That was probably more amusing to the 4 people who are with us today.
Surprise.
Oh, there's
we
people?
have special
Oh,
guests.
God. Why?
Because they love us.
Oh, my God. Okay. Hi.
Not anymore.
Uh,
Okay. Anyway, so pretending like Morgan didn't fade out of existence. Yes, it was me, so I'll go first.
Yay!
So the Custodians. I think this is unique for 2 reasons that out of everything we've done. Number 1, I think this is the first third-person narration with dialogue from other voice actors. So I think the only other third person was the vessel, right? But the narrator was doing all the voices. So that's unique to this one out of everything we've seen so far. And then I think also this is the first like YA, like young adult. I'm assuming this is young adult, just given
I
the
wasn't
the
sure.
I
There's an
a
awful
big
lot of
high
swearing
schooler.
for YA.
I have thoughts.
Gays can swear.
All right.
It's usually
Okay.
Throw it
just
to you, Allonte.
the main
I'm not
character.
sure what the rules are.
teenager. Main character's
On
a
point.
teenager. Emotions are high.
Yeah.
Limited
On
sex.
There's a
me.
lot of quipping, a lot of sass.
Mm.
Quite a bit of sass.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit
Also,
of.
Good zingers though, like the Easy Breezy Beautiful. Like I laughed at that too much. I shouldn't have, but I loved it.
Let's see. I was getting such big Buffy vibes from the
Mhm.
very
Gonna
beginning
say.
with like the
Yeah.
narration of, this is the world that we're in on the Hellmouth
I
in a
got,
high
like-
school.
I got persona vibes.
Okay, I got
Like
like
everything about this.
YTV vibes. Like, this is like, I don't know, right, American,
Beast
sorry.
Wars.
What is
Yeah,
is this like another
there you
Canadian
go.
thing?
Beast
Beast
Wars,
Wars
like
vibes.
90s cartoon kind of like, or live action stuff aimed for kids. kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
it
because
felt
it's not quite like middle grade like Goosebumps. Was it Fear Street that was like the next grade up?
yeah, like Fear Street kind of like that kind of thing, but like that sort of like Nickelodeon-esque kind of like sound
Really?
design with the like or
Oh,
something
I
like
can hear
even
that now.
just
No, I could see
wilder
that.
out there like Street Sharks or something. Kind of that like
Sharks, I forgot about Street
Welcome
you
to
can't
today's
unhear it
episode
once
of
you think
Do
about
You
it.
Remember? We're going to talk about
Mm.
90s cartoons that we loved. Street Sharks.
Yeah,
through the
90s cartoons being a thing. 90s are back in a big way, and I think most of us lived through them. So
Yes.
there you go.
See, I was
don't
getting huge
believe
just
this.
anime vibes, like from the delivery to like certain things, and just like for me, I was just like, I do want to ask, like, how influenced by Persona were you? Because just from start to finish, it felt like a video game. It felt heavily inspired by Persona. And I think that's also what makes this unique. What makes this unique from the other things that we reviewed is the fact that it wasn't going for like hyper realistic. I feel like everything up until this point was going for like, it's our world, but slightly different, slightly off. No, this is a completely different like world that is not even like loosely connected to ours. So
And
for
also,
that, I
it's not
appreciated it.
like realistic consequences, I would say, in that
Mhm.
same vein, where it's like you're sassing these demons and they're like, ooh, bada, you know, like instead of being like, I'm a demon and
And
you're a
then
child,
you're out of
I'm going to
existence.
kill you.
Yeah.
It's just like you
Mhm, mhm.
can get away with more here. The stakes are
Mm.
much lower, it feels like.
Yeah,
Mm.
no.
Great part, because it's not like, I'm going to eat your soul. It's more like, I have your friend. Do you want him free? Maybe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
a little bit.
But think about what we're comparing it to, because we've said Buffy, we said Persona. To me, this was more TTRPG, like kids on bikes. Like, I could have seen this campaign go down easily. And that made me was like, okay, I'm for this. I want more now, because especially with the random NPC of hard.
Not hard.
I was everyone. I like
Not hard.
Hodor. What is the that's also had me guessing at the middle school, right? Like some things that were phrased and some things that were said repeatedly. I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
You got a vibe.
Yeah,
Mhm,
there's
mhm.
definitely a vibe on this one. Like it managed to do something very different in like just sort of all of its design, I think.
I
Like,
think it will come up, though, to other people who listen to this, that age-old debate of what is horror? Is this horror?
Mm.
And I'm like, you know what? Technically, it's supposed to be a horrific scenario. Is supposed to be the simplest definition. I was like, you're dealing with demons. I'm going to give a yeah on that one.
It kind of falls into, is comedy horror actually horror? You know? Because, like, well, I wouldn't say this
Ooh.
is a flat out comedy horror. There are comedic elements to it. But my feelings on comedy horror is usually it's a comedy with a horror set piece. There's not usually like full horror. You're never scared usually in a comedy horror. So I guess if you can't consider that to still be within the realm of horror, then this could still fit within the realm of horror.
I mean, I think horror has different margins based on like what the audience like age is, because it's like, would you consider Ernest Scared Stupid a horror? You know, it's
That scared the hell out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
Those
there you
trolls
go.
still
As a
haunt me.
kid,
Yeah.
that is existentially
Yeah.
terrifying
Mars
in a very
Attacks
specific
today.
way.
Yes.
But as an adult,
My God.
it's
Yes.
Yes.
Real
Scarred
quick-
for life.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Real quick, though,
Finger?
fun fact about Ernest, those trolls, those were the clowns used
Hmm.
later for Psycho Clowns from Outer Space. They just put makeup on them. Same exact
Oh.
bodies. Yeah.
oh, there you go.
So watch those again with new scared eyes.
Reduce,
Yeah.
reuse, recycle.
To be
Already
fair,
there.
in the 90s, a lot of things that weren't supposed to be horror were horror. Like, don't tell me the Black Crystal wasn't horror, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The labyrinth.
Dark
Crystal.
Crystal is
Oh, yeah.
definitely horror.
Don't tell me like half the cartoons we watched as
They were
infants
not.
were you know, that was, I was traumatized by the Evil Queen and Snow White apparently when I was little, and like we went on the
Aw.
ride in Disneyland and cried, and I was like, that tracks. I'm a
Aw.
crier.
I also love that, like, it's like, oh, this is a cartoon, means it's for kids. And then Watership Down was invented, and they were like, okay, this is no longer the fact.
I knew something was wrong with me when, as a child, when that was like my favorite cartoon.
Oh.
That's when all the pieces started clicking. You're like, yep, I'm different.
That's fair.
Something's going on here.
Something's gone wrong. I'm like 8 years old, and this should not be my favorite movie.
I watched Puff the Magic Dragon like over and over and over again. So sometimes these things just are signs of you later in
I
life.
was going to say, is this a prophecy for future
Heard about
drug
it.
use?
That's I was wondering if that was where that was going too. Honestly, I was like, "Where's this
Fun
lead
fact
to?"
about Morgan.
What was his
We're
name?
learning.
Falcor, whatever that thing is. Terrified the
Yes.
hell out of me.
Yeah, Falcor.
That was not okay.
But like the scariest part about that series though was Jack Black being in number 3. That's just the most haunting aspect of that series. Yes, Neverending Story 3, starring Jack Black.
This is my first news that there was a Neverending Story 2,
Yeah,
even a
I
3.
remember that.
Oh no,
It is a
okay, 2 you have
never-ending
to watch
story,
because
Jessica.
it really is. But 2
You
you have to
know?
watch because they start to deal with like psychological trauma. And is it better to get rid of your memories if they cause problem if you're slowly like having brain death because of it?
Oh, like
It was
Eternal
really
Sunshine
deep.
of the Spotless Mind. type
Yeah,
situation.
but scary for kids. Yeah.
I'd say, like, proven, like, you know, where horror is dependent a little bit on, like, your
Mhm.
audience, you know, age-wise.
In that case, we may have found like what I consider my first YA podcast then, because I don't think I've ever come across one.
It's
Yeah,
true.
especially not. Yeah, I'm trying to think of even if that exists outside of like the horror field, if there are like young adult fiction podcasts, because I'm sure there's a lot of
Mm,
talk podcasts where people just yapping about whatever.
there's
But like as far
definitely-
as like audio fiction, is there a market for like younger listeners? Like our kids? Because I know sometimes with No Sleep, we'll be like, they'll have parents be like, oh, we screen the stories, then we'll play the ones that are child appropriate for kids. So there are kids listening to horror stories, but I don't know if there's like a show that's like specifically just for kids and horror.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's like a category you can get when you listen to podcasts. Like if
Maybe.
you're just searching, I don't think you can
Yeah,
choose
like,
like
is it-
YA.
Is there like a filter for age?
So I feel
mean,
like,
so.
you know,
I've
maybe
seen a lot
we
of
need more of
podcast apps.
this.
Even
'Cause, like-
podcast apps don't do filtering right for genres. They're like, this is the best ever
Mhm.
science fiction, and it's My Buddy's Desert Sky, which is about the afterlife. I'm like, okay, not really.
So I feel like, you know, like, things like Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps were like such quintessential parts of our childhood. I'm seeing everybody react to
Erie, Indiana.
Erie, Indiana,
Man, I forgot about
or
Erie.
oh god, what was the one with the weird cockroach that delivered stories? Anyway,
Nope.
So
Lost
Kafka?
me on that one.
that one might not made it.
And
Maybe
then,
that
of
was
course,
just a
because it was the
Canadian thing.
90s, we're derailing bad, but I don't apologize for it. But there was a part of the 90s where like, hey, we just need to take everything and make it for kids. Because at one point there was a Saturday morning game show. The host was the Crypt Keeper.
Oh yes,
It was like
The
Double
Crypt
Dare.
Keeper?
The
Yeah.
Crypt Keeper.
I
Yeah,
remember
They
this
they
one.
pulled the puppet out and they're like, "Rah."
Yep.
he was the
That's
host of the game show.
Whatever
Yeah, I
kids
feel
will
like
watch.
there
man.
could be like way more like market for this style of horror out there. Like this, you know, this could be a thing.
We need to bring it back. What was that
We
one
need to
book?
get in on it.
that
A trademark
was- 'cause
level.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Start
horror stories
writing.
for kids, but the cover haunted me. It was like black and white with
Yes.
a clown skull or head
Yes.
with blue and red.
I know exactly
I'm
what
like,
you're
that was not
supposed to
meant
tell
for
me.
kids.
It's scary stories to tell in the
I
dark.
think so.
Yeah,
that was
with
not
the
meant for
horrifying
kids,
art.
but it was sold at every book fair in elementary school.
I read all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Mm.
There's Harold the Scarecrow. That one's in my brain forever. There's the one where the chick thought she had a zit and it was actually little baby spiders and pop. And went,
Ew.
yeah, no, that's seared in there. I don't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I know that.
Yeah, I remember one, it was like a haunted house situation, but they had an actual drawing in the book of like a kid being smushed by a table. So it was like he was up against the wall, table went in here, and he's just like top half, bottom half, like a K. Yeah, that's in my brain.
Would you say
Oh no.
folded in half like a 90s lawn chair?
I would say that. That is exactly what it looks like.
Oh boy. Oh boy. The prophecy has been foretold, and
We found a way.
it found its
Life
way in there.
finds a way.
I
Sorry,
missed
we were
this,
having a
folks. I don't know what
discussion.
the hell they're talking
That's
in
what
about.
you
the
get for being
pre-show while
late.
we were waiting. Yeah, it's not important.
Anyway, back to the podcast. Jessica,
That's
do you
gonna
want
make it
to
into the podcast?
What are
do you
we
want to do a
actually?
recap?
Sure, for a nice family-friendly podcast. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Extra spice.
we open with some butt rock and a prologue. Right? We get the world. There used to be
No!
Just as we got to the goods.
Oh,
You look so
man.
angry.
I know.
I
Come
hear
back
all of
to
you.
That's brilliant. That's wonderful. Oh my god. You get
Oh,
Again, for those in the audience, thank you for being here. This is what we do.
We
This is-
appreciate you spending your time with us. It told Jessica that the changes may not be saved.
Is it better to stop this and do it again?
I have no idea. I don't know Riverside well enough. I mean, we are at the beginning if she just jumps in.
Technical difficulties.
I mean,
technical
Da-da-da.
when I got
Da-da-da.
kicked out and came back in like 20 times, it saved every single one. So
Oh,
Are
There we
good?
go.
Yes.
There we go.
Welcome back.
I reloaded. Okay. I just heard you all screaming and I was like, oh no, I must have dropped. I heard you guys for a little bit afterwards.
Just get to the good part.
What'd I miss?
nothing.
Well, you were about to start your recap.
Okay. Do you want me to try again?
yes, please.
Please do.
Let me get comfortable first.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
Nope. Knocked out my headphones.
He doesn't need to hear this. He's heard it. He knows what happens.
So many issues.
Okay. Now I'm ready. I'm comfortable.
Okay. So we open Butt Rock and a prologue. The world used to be consumed by monsters and demons, but there was a group called the Custodians who scooped them all up and put them in the void. They did such a good job that people kind of forgot that monsters and demons existed, and then they just straight up built a high school over the site of this monster prison. And the Custodians are like, well, we've got the name, so let's just be janitors for the school. So that's, yeah, we have these like monster fighters just work as janitors at this school to make sure that the demons don't escape the void. So that's the prologue. And then we get in, we meet our main character. It's Halloween night. And
Part 2.
the nerdiest nerd known to man, Sam Evans, is going to prove all the popular kids wrong by showing them that vampires do exist. So, Halloween night, a thinning of the veil, probably. He's like, I'm going to sneak into the school. I stole the janitor's keyring. So he goes in, sneaks into the school, goes to the boiler room. There's nothing there. He thought there would be, but then his, like, spookometer goes off. And it leads him to locker 666, which it's not like really called locker 666. It's just this locker that it's given vibes. It's like nobody's assigned to it.
actually was like 666. Like,
Is it really? Was it actually 6?
I thought
is
that was what it was.
Yeah.
Because
It was
like they
literal.
didn't assign it for like, you know,
Because-
They reference that in like episode 2, yeah.
yeah,
because they're like, the number's bad, so
How-
nobody
like
gets it.
superstitious
Demon.
reasons.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess there is a locker 666.
Wait, you said how big? How small was your high school class?
No, now that I'm thinking about it, my graduating class was like 1,000 people, so that it all checks
Mine
out.
was literally like 12.
That's crazy. And I
Mine
was,
was like
number
400.
2. Anyway, it was the only high school in my like growing town for a while, and then they built another high school, and then everyone's like, let's leave the ghetto high school and go to the one with like chairs.
Damn.
Important. Chairs are important.
So, locker 666. Sam has a skeleton key, and it like glows. I think it's like actually got like a little skull on it, like an actual skeleton key. Locker pops open, opens to a hallway. He's like, Jinkies. He goes in. There's a coffin in there. Sam is determined that there is a vampire in this locker. And so he's like, I gotta open. He has his stake. He's ready to kill this vampire. Breaks open the coffin. Instead, there's a demon inside. The demon arises. And like Sam, despite being what he is, I'll give him his props. He did rush the demon with the stake. He's like, I'll for Veronica or whatever. Demon slaps him aside. He's done with that.
It was a pretty demony thing, though, and he was still gonna like kill the vampire.
Yeah, like
and to quote Buffy, you'd be surprised how many things a state can kill.
yeah, most things if you aim well enough. But yeah, so he's like, I'll give him his props for that. But the demon is like, well, you're coming with me, kid. Hulk smashes through a wall, takes them deeper into the demon pit, and it's like, and Sam is really unbothered this whole time. He's quipping, he's sassing the whole time. Really more concerned about the demon's pronouns than his life being in mortal danger. Very considerate there. So he gets to the pit, and the demon's like, you are a virgin. Sam's like, no. Demon's like, kid, I need virgin blood. You're a virgin. Stick your hand in this demon hole. Sam's like, well, I guess I gotta. sticks his hand in the demon hole, saps out some blood. Demon's like, okay. Oh, is this when we get the demon's name? The demon's name is Scarecrow, by the way. We don't know why, but its name is Scarecrow. And then it's like, okay, not done with you yet, kid. Here's this stone circle. There's a tablet in the middle. Go fetch me that tablet. Sam's like, well, I guess I gotta. Goes in, retrieves the tablet, and then what does the demon do? What does the collects the tablet? Oh yeah, and then like shadows seep into Sam, and he passes out. He awakens. There is a janitor standing over him. It's Vicky, and she's like, oh, ew, children, gross.
Same.
Let's get
Appropriate
you out of
response, I
here,
guess.
kid. No one's ever gonna believe you because you're a loser. And then we
Oh,
meet
yes,
the
I actually made a note there of he's a weird kid. No one will ever believe him.
yeah, which fair.
It's
If
the
like
exact quote.
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
some weirdo kid was like, hey guys, so I broke into the school last night and fought a demon, I'd be like,
Sure, you can.
cool,
Mhm.
cool. So yeah, so then
Anyways,
we meet. Yeah,
There's a very specific horror in being a child, knowing that no adult will really ever actually, like, believe your shit.
no, he's
The
nerd
witches.
central though. It's not no
Yeah.
adult. No kids will believe him. No
well, except for
one.
his BFF Grant, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So then we meet the other janitor. His name is Grizz. He has one eye, and he's like worried about the tablet. And Vicky's like, look, the tablet's fine. And Sam at no point was like, yeah, well, the shadows absorbed into my soul. He's just like, I'll leave that out. That's fine. But then the demon, not another demon. Was it another demon? Yeah, no, it was someone else yoinks Sam, and then Grizz is like, let that boy go, because we're the Custodians.
my God.
Insert title.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we got the title drop
That's
and
right.
everything. And that was episode 1. I think that was episode 1.
Way.
Before we get to episode 2 real quick, I want to bring up one thing I love because, okay, not to say I'm smarter than anyone else because I'm probably not smarter than anyone, but I love the fact that they actually went with the history of the word custodian. That is one thing I thought was really cute, really clever, and I was like, this is awesome because, well, it's like it's not just random janitors. They're like, no, this is what the word actually was, and now we are also janitors.
This
I like that.
strange twist of fate. They're like, well, gee dang it, now we actually have to clean up trash.
Yeah.
Literal
I
trash.
guess I'll mop.
Curse you,
Mm.
English language, for destroying our Latin base.
All right. Anybody have anything specific about episode 1 we want to talk about?
I do.
Do it.
Man. Okay,
Oh.
so like I said
Enthusiasm.
before, it's like, yes, it had a prologue, but the whole episode felt like a prologue. Like it felt like it took a little too long to get to the show, which is not just this one person. And also, it's really hard when your main character is unlikable. I know it's unlikable on purpose, and I know
is
it's like
Sam
an anime
unlikable?
trope, and that's an anime trope. I get it, but like, that's hard. That's hard. But if you get past that,
I thought it was fairly fast paced, actually, because it's like, here's the lore you need. Here's exactly when everything kicks off. It's like we didn't start like the day before where it's like, oh, here's Sam being bullied at school and we got to look into his home life. And then no, it's like we drop right in when he's doing foolery. And then we meet most of our other main characters out the gate, ready to go.
I think maybe then it's my fault because like the way the character sounded and my perceived unlikableness of this character, like it felt like a vignette of like somebody broke the seal, oh god, they died, and now the custodians come in to like figure out what went wrong.
I don't know. For me, I think, like, this one really lends itself to the design of, like, a animated show from the 90s where, like, the first 2 minutes is a voiceover completely explaining the deal of the history and our setting in a very kind of, like, this is what happened. This is the thing. Now we're going to meet so-and-so. And, like, that's, like, not something that is conventionally you see as much anymore.
Yeah, I'll
Because
say that's
now
another.
it's a lot more kind of like show, don't tell kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
He's
another
Mighty Max.
thing, like unique to like the other shows we're watching where it's like they don't tell the audience everything. There's like some sort of mystery involved. Here it's like the mysteries are solved pretty much immediately. If there is a mystery, it's
Yeah,
like, oh, you
yeah.
wondered about this? Well, here's the answer.
Pretty much, yeah. I
But
mean,
was that successful?
Again, I guess
I
we have to
liked
talk
it.
about like for the
It hit the
audience.
nostalgia.
think for me it hit nostalgia. Like there's a very specific like deep pull of like superhuman samurai cyber squad that
My God.
that like this felt exactly like, just with like a slightly different premise going on, slightly less computer
To add to that nostalgia concept too, the butt rock opening, that was great. I loved it because it's like, this is what's going on, and now title sequence with the rock. The only thing that would have made it like even slightly closer to anime, because they also had a butt rock closing, if they had a very sad, depressing closing, and be like,
Yeah.
very Witch Hunter Robin at that point, and been like, oh, that's perfect. But no, I think they did, like, I loved the music they chose for the opening and the closing. I thought they did really well for the nostalgia.
Yeah, and they
that
have an
really
original
reminded
composer
me.
too, who does like it's
Yeah.
all like original music. I think that's great. I'm like, hell yeah, because it really does like it fits the vibe perfectly of what you're listening to.
It really does. Like it's one of those like, you know, specific tool for a specific job kind of things. The sound design, like it's doing something really interesting there. Like, you know, way more activity sort of on the narration end than we're used to. The one thing that maybe got me like a little bit out of it on the narration side is there's odd changes between like present and past tense in the writing that'll come up every now
Do we
and
have
again.
mixed tenses?
There's mixed tenses
that
because
is my
it's
bane in editorial. It is it's what takes the longest to edit. Like if I do accept a story where it's like, okay, the idea is good enough, I'll have to spend a whole day editing the story. Mixed tenses are the absolute worst.
because yeah, it's like you accept that like even in a present tense, like past tense will come up routinely to tell you things that happen. But here it is mixed tenses. So like there's a little bit of that happening that every now and again my brain would just kind of like ping off of and be like, am I just being a stodgy prescriptivist? Like, you know, do the kids even care about this shit anymore? I don't know.
It's just you being
I don't know
illiterate.
about that, but thank you for my word of the day, because what the
What?
hell is
Dodgy?
Stodgy?
No. Scriptivist, whatever that was.
Dear. Oh dear, I've done it again.
American public schools, yeah. Slow it down for me a little bit.
Okay.
Texas public schools, slow it way down for me a little bit.
Prescriptivist. Someone who is very treats
Prescribed.
grammatical rules and punctuation and everything as solid and unchanging, and that there is a correct way to do it.
Pedantry?
Pedantry, but specifically with grammar. Yeah,
Okay,
Yield grammar
cool.
Nazis.
basically yes.
Mm. So
Also,
somebody please
prescriptivism is
remind
not
me.
cool. Don't be prescriptivist, y'all.
Somebody
Well,
please remind me, in the 90s cartoons, what was like the delivery style of the narrator voice?
It depends on what it was, because Mummy's Alive was very intense. This is the scene. This is where we are, and then they went right into whatever.
Yeah.
Mighty Max gave us his whole huge history, and then almost never came up again. Biker Mice from Mars was a little bit more playful when it did show up. Yes, Jessica, I know. I'm like, listen to the elders, okay?
Bam.
We going off today. This is our moment to shine.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, no,
I
but
asked because like I also had like a little with the narration, not with the punctuation, but with the delivery. Like it makes sense in horror that you kind of want emotionless, but then when you listen to the style of the show, it doesn't mesh well for me. So that's what I was also like, is that just because I need a bombastic delivery, or is it really just not meshing?
well, that specific
show?
bombastism, like it fits that 90s thing. Like the like seriousness of the narrator, like that kind of like, you know, kid tone that adults like voice act, like over the slight over enunciation and then yeah, kind of like a nerdy thing that is going. That
Yes,
felt
with the characters, yes, but
perfect
from the narrator.
point per point. So
But-
like yeah, sound design and acting wise, it felt like a throwback.
I would say, as far as narration and emotion goes, one of the most classic examples. It was used so rarely, but it was such an impactful. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, like,
Exactly.
In a world.
Yeah.
You know?
Because otherwise, it's just like, and now on the other side of the town, we see our heroes together. I'm like, no. Like I want
how I'm hearing him do the thing, and I'm like,
Really?
that's not the vibe for me. Yeah.
I heard it more as just almost like he was knowledgeable in what was going on, but he was also excited as a listener, like I was. Like, ooh, this is what's going to happen now.
I
Like,
didn't hear
goody,
any
goody.
emotion at all. Wow. Okay. I love that we all heard different things.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah,
hear
and the best
different
part is we're going
things.
to interview the creator, and like we're all off, like 180 out entirely. I've never seen a 90s cartoon. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is for serious adults only.
Yes.
I hate Persona. I hate it. Yeah.
And what are TTRPGs?
Anime, is that them?
We're just a
Japanese
bunch of
Girl
elders
cartoons?
clustered around in a cave with
I would
our
just say
gray,
girl by
long
closed oversized at
beards.
that point.
Sorry.
A little skexy.
Mhm.
This is going to
Right.
be incomprehensible to anyone under the age of 20
Yeah.
who listens to our show.
They need to be educated. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, didn't we just confirm that no one under the age of 20 listens to podcasts or whatever?
At least we questioned it.
Well, I like,
Yeah, where are the
like,
stats? I need the stats.
but also, Jessica, seeing your face, no one your age knows what I'm referencing at this point.
Look, man, I was born in 93. So, like, for a lot of the 90s, I don't have memories. I was a worm, quite simply.
A worm.
So just
A
a
potato.
little worm with little
Sentient
flashes of
potato.
You know
trauma
that the
popping up
reboot-
now
without
and then.
wings?
You
No,
know
I
the
never
reboot of
metamorphosized.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like, you don't know the OG Are You Afraid of the
I
Dark?
watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? You kidding?
Really?
Oh,
Really?
dude.
Okay.
Staying power.
That was
Mhm.
that was
Yeah, watched
best,
all of
yeah.
the Are You Afraid of the
Classic.
Dark, all the Goosebumps. That was my jam. The librarians at the elementary
that one
school
episode of Ghost
knew.
Rider.
They would
Mhm.
tell me when like one of the Goosebumps books I hadn't read yet was back in stock. They would seek me out. They'd be like, "We got the new
Again,
mask one,"
horror
and I'm
starts
like,
young. We've seen this now. Horror starts really young.
Hell yeah.
Always
yeah.
been a little freak. Always.
And librarians really don't stop you from taking whatever the heck you want.
They're encouraging
They
it.
should. They should
Like,
though.
you wanna read
so
this?
I
Absolutely.
read Macbeth at way too early of an age. That messed me up.
I read a lot of Stephen King as like a 10, 12-year-old. That
Yeah,
shouldn't have happened.
ditto.
Not it, right?
Wild.
Not it. Not it.
Wow.
You read
We're
it.
gonna go we're gonna
Yeah,
go
so
past
sorry.
that part. We're gonna go
We're
past
skipping
that part.
forward. Anyway, episode 2. Jessica, take it.
Okay.
Episode 2. They did something I really like because they do monthly releases. Episode 2 started with a recap. I was like, that's great. I really appreciate that because if you are listening release to release, a month is a long time between releases. So it gives you a little clue back into what happened in the first episodes. They're like, here's the world. And Sam just got yoinked. So we're back in. Sam, held up by a demon. Grizz, the one-eyed janitor, I think has a shotgun, blasts him, which is dangerous, closed space, also holding a child, but whatever. Sam's fine.
He specifically said get the child out the way. He had some thought about it.
Yeah, and the demon was like, yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Kid's deaf in one ear now, but that's fine, right?
He's got more problems. So we meet Eugene, who can only say 2 words, and those 2 words are hard and not, well, I guess it's 3 words. Hard and not hard. We find
That's 2
out
words.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
it's not and hard.
It's technically 3. Yeah, he can 2 phrases. He can say hard and not hard. Hard turns him into his golem mode. Not hard turns him back into a human mode. He's just a guy. As we find out later, he made a deal with a demon. They call him Eugene because that's what's on his name tag for some reason, not his actual name. Again, we'll find that out later. But we also find out in this way that the other 2 characters, the other janitors, Grizz and Vicky, didn't know Eugene before he lost his ability to communicate. And we can only assume the troubles that's had in his life, especially in a bedroom situation when that's all you can say. It's got to be very confusing.
At least
Anyway,
he's not making proclamations of love that he doesn't fully believe in.
experience claimant? Anyway. So we've got some casual ableism. They're like, wow, we just thought Eugene was dumb because he can't speak. And I'm like, that's rude, but we'll skip right over that, I guess. All right, so just now that Eugene is back in human mode, Sam's best friend, Grant, who is also a super nerd, pops back in. And And Sam decides, he's like, okay, I don't want to get Grant wrapped up in all this soup. I don't know how dangerous this is yet. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go with what the janitors say. I'm going to lie. We're going to pretend this never happened because, we don't have all the details yet. So he's like, all right, yeah, I went here and got caught by the janitors. No one's going to believe me anyway. So they're like, oh, we'll just leave. So, and I was like, okay, cool. Now we'll get a little bit of downtime. No, the action does not stop. They leave the school, lightning strikes. A bowler-hatted demon with a cane shows up because, of course, that is what the big bad demon looks like. And he's like...
Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah. So, and then Grant, gone, disappeared into the void. We don't know where he is. And the demon, the bowler hat demon, is like, Samuel, I will offer you a deal for great power if you open the void and let all my friends out. And Sam's like, well, I guess if it gets Grant back, that's the best option I can make. So
he holds a little steady.
Boy.
He's like, that's
for like 2 seconds, and he's like, well, I got no choice, which, fair. We presume this is presumably like his only friend for obvious reasons. So then Bowler Hat Demon yoinks his tongue. He's like in the middle of like doing some sort of demon magic foolery with the tongue when Grizz shows up and uses his, because he has an eye patch the whole time. He has one eye. Flips the eye patch up. He uses his good eye. I think they call it the abysmal eye or the eye of abyssal, something like that. He's got a spooky eye.
Yeah, I think
Lasers the bowler hat demon. And then we find out that this is the demon who gave Eugene, whose actual name is Chris, his powers. This demon, when you make deals with him, he takes your ability to communicate and gives you some sort of strong something.
Even to write.
Fully.
There's no getting around that. There's no like I can use a whiteboard or something. No, you just
exactly.
You're
I'm
stuck.
assuming it takes out sign language as well. Yeah, Eugene/Chris fully cannot communicate with words in any form or manner.
2 words. They
two
left
phrases. Yeah, he's got hard and not hard. So I guess because Eugene/Chris made his deal with this demon can kind of control him. So Eugene hulks out and he's like grappling with Grizz, which is in the way. And Grizz is like, Vicky, you gotta do something. And Vicky's like, if I go into demon mode on Halloween, it'll be bad. I have to wait till after midnight when it's no longer Halloween, because Vicky made a deal with Scarecrow, the demon from the first episode. And Vicky's deal with Scarecrow, apparently she can like turn into Scarecrow, but still kind of remain like herself to a degree. Like there's clearly like when Scarecrow's in charge and then when Vicky's in charge. So then Vicky goes into Scarecrow mode, beats up Eugene, and then Eugene hulks down, I believe, powers down. And then because Sam was like in the middle of making the deal with his demon, he didn't lose his ability to communicate, and he did get a power. At least that's what I'm assuming based on this. He has a vision. Sam has visions now, and he has a vision of like when Chris made his deal. It was the same bowler hat demon, and the demon took his little sister, and Chris was like, I'll do anything to get my sister back. And that is where we end that episode. So we learn that
Dun, dun, dun.
at least two of the janitors actually made deals with these demons in order to get powers, and then they just kind of like ended up as custodians because they're like, well, I got these demon powers and I know they're real, so I guess I'll fight the demons.
Well, I mean, it also seems that like, Grizz, I think, said that I think like they're stuck with him like that. I think that's his form of jail and imprisonment. Like, look, you can't have demon powers out in the world. Grab a mop, you son of a bitch.
It's the real curse.
Yeah, which I'm loving all the characters, but I also love every time I see the dynamic of two friends whose sole like trope is jockeying for first place of who is the biggest outcast. It's like who's weirder and who's odder, and it's just like, are you down there? I can help. I'm just like, oh, you poor man, you're the one winning right now.
Right, 'cause, like you'll have like your alpha nerd who's like, I'm the protagonist nerd, and then you'll have kind of like the subservient nerd who's like, I'll do whatever you say, best friend. You don't deserve me. I always feel bad for subservient nerd, because like the alpha nerd, like they'll get like a hint of popularity at some point, and then they just throw like second place nerd to the side, to the gutter. And then they have to like grovel later, and then subservient nerd's like, I forgive you. It's like, you shouldn't. You're better than this.
Yeah,
You deserve
you
better.
shouldn't. No.
Welcome to Introspection with Jessica.
Well, all I'm going to say is maybe you'd like episode 3.
Episode 3 was like
You went
40
ahead 3?
minutes. You listened
I
further?
actually listened to episode 3. Yeah.
Wow.
Overachiever.
Oh. Well,
Allonte,
I
I
wanted
passed
to
my
see how it
title to you.
evolved, because it's for me episode 1 to episode 2, like production wise and just like flow. It was like a big jump of improvement. So I wanted to see how that would continue, and I think it did continue. Yeah.
Do you have any like further kind of insights about episode 3 that is like non-spoilery but also tantalizing?
I just feel like they find their footing. Like they know the show that they want to produce. Like you know how
Nice.
some shows take like 5 or 6 episodes where we're like, all right, we know the format or we know this. They're like, no, we know where we are, and they keep going with that, and they lean more into the anime. Like a very like anime cliffhanger happens at the end of episode 3, and I think they're gonna keep
Yeah.
doing that.
I think episode 4 did just come out, right? Am I losing my mind? I lost my phone at the very least.
I thought there was only 3 plus the trailer.
I think there's 4. I think
So-
the 4th one just came out
Oh, did it?
like a couple
Huh.
days ago.
I
Yeah,
guess I am wrong.
on Thursday, new episode.
So I will say my biggest gripe with episode 2 is that they didn't spend enough time talking about the like even in world in game the narrator's like the cool moment. It's literally like a sentence where it's like she transformed into this awesome tall scarecrow and did battle.
Very Tolkien.
Vers-
And there was a great battle.
Yeah, I
Seemed
was
like-
like, you hear a little bit of the repetitive, yeah, when you like, I needed more of a description going on, and then kind of they did a lot better in the episode from 1 to 2, where 1 for me they would add sound effects to some things, but not others. Like specifically, there was a moment when like Vicky was thrown against the wall, and we didn't hear nothing. It was just
She's very light, Vicky. She's just
She's
not
a
even
scarecrow.
Ephemeral.
not even a whoosh, you know. So they were more consistent with in episode 2 for sure. But what did y'all think about episode 2, huh?
I think it continues the trend of everything I'd seen from episode 1, where it's very fast paced. We don't really need to revel in mysteries for very long. They're pretty like we're like, oh, what's Eugene's backstory? We immediately have Eugene's backstory by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's kind of a nice palate cleanser because we've been doing a lot of mysteries lately. A lot of we don't have all the information. We're slowly getting all the information. It's kind of nice just to
No.
have. Oh
Informe-
no, did I go again?
Informe-
Damn it!
uh, 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 oh no, poor Jessica's internet.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh, are you back?
Am I back? Am I back?
Are you back? Jessica, can you hear
Am I
us?
back? I can
Are you
hear
back?
you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
can
Oh,
hear
there
you.
we go.
Oh
Now
my
we can see
god!
you
you didn't
too,
actually
yeah.
drop.
Yes.
Nice.
The beauty
Okay, I
is
was-
all of what you said was recorded locally. At
Okay.
least.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say if I black out again, you guys can just keep going, and I'll refresh back in when the time happens. What was I saying?
Information. That was it.
Information regarding
It was a
episode
continuation
2,
of
the
what you saw in
continuation.
episode 1.
Where we get
Where
a lot of
it's-
information.
Yeah, we get. It's very fast paced. Good palate cleanser. There's mysteries. They're immediately solved. And that's all I remember.
And you know what? I think in a way they have to do that, not for the sake of the story, but for the sake of production. Because yeah, a month is a long time to hold, interest, to hold like intrigue, to remember like. So in a more mystery focused, you want to listen multiple times because like there's a little detail here that will pay off in episode 5. Where you don't really have as much time to do that when you're to recall minute details when you're just waiting month to month.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like for their format, having just like giving the information readily means you don't have to be as frustrated waiting between episodes. Be like, wait, why are we mentioning this? What is this thing again? Like you already know, what you're getting
Yeah.
into.
I think it adds more to like I was comparing it to Buffy, and then episode 2, I think it switched more to Angel, which made me happy. And it's very sitcom-y where it's like, previously on, and then we'll go back into it. And I think it serves it well.
Yeah, it really gets to the goods really fast. Like, there's not really like a lot of faffing about. They're just like, yeah, no, we're here. We've established our school. We've got, cool battles that are happening. We're introducing the backstories of the people who are going to be important. so that you have all the necessary information going forward. Because I think this is kind of like sits more in like that dark fantasy more than horror kind of thing, where you're kind of like rooting for everybody as they go through a more horror flavored kind of world.
I think it's a good distinction on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
No, because I'm just like literally, I'm still stuck on the question of like, what is horror? And earlier we said like it scares you, and I'm like, a lot of the horror that I've seen doesn't necessarily scare me. So
Well, because there's
like,
also
what-
horror that like just makes you uncomfortable, that unsettles you. There's horror that disgusts you. Like horror, like I think more than any other genre, that you have an expectation for horror, but it's not necessarily one specific thing. Like with a comedy, you have the expectation you're going to find it funny. It needs to be funny to someone to be a comedy, right? So you go in and you can kind of judge that based on, did I laugh? Whereas with horror, you can't really be like, well, was I scared as the sole like statistic of is this horror or not? Because there are other usually negative emotions you feel with horror.
So I know like whether or not something counts as horror also changes depending on its medium. Like whether you're talking about a written work versus like a TTRPG system, whether or not that is conducive to horror versus the whole dark fantasy thing. Like it's in that terms, usually like dark fantasy is kind of more like you're invested in the characters' development and their personal struggles as they're going through these things, and less worried about their general survival, generally speaking.
I guess the question is, if something is paranormal, is it automatically horror to some degree?
I think horror can be aesthetics as well as
question.
as like there. If you go through a something, and so it's all skeletons and sort of zombies and stuff like that, like, but nothing particularly horrorful is happening. That's kind of like horror as aesthetic rather than horror as sort of like the soul of the thing. But I'd still count it in some ways.
Like, would Plants vs. Zombies be horror? Because you have zombies.
Maybe. I mean,
like
on the very, very light end. We're talking about, I think, like very subjective taxonomical kind of stuff. So it's like,
I don't think this is a thing we're going to
arbitrates
solve.
any of this? It's like
But
all
can
of
I
us are
bring
going to
it-
have a different line that gets crossed at different points for horror, and
Can I bring
none
it
of us.
back as the show as a media? Because on one hand, I found it easy to visualize the characters, but then wanting more visuals. So if I want more visuals, does it make it a more successful or less successful podcast?
What do you mean in terms of visuals? Do you mean like, do you want to know what the people look like? Do you mean you want to know what exactly the fights are like? Like what specifically?
So that's kind of the question, right? Like I specifically had that when they addressed the fights. Like, if the whole point of the show is that everyone's a Titan from Attack on Titan, you kind of want to see that battle.
Okay.
You need more than a sentence.
I think
So
I sort of see where you're coming from, because I feel like the narration favored action over description
yes.
in a lot of ways. So you kind of
Yes.
want more, lingering on creating the set pieces and like the, figuring out who our characters are from like a visual perspective.
Yeah, because without that, I think maybe that's what made the 90s cartoon successful is like you could have the short thing, but it was paired with colorful visuals, right? Like, so
I think they were, in my opinion, smart to try to dodge that descriptively, because I think you do that wrong in the slightest, and you're going to do a WWE ring commentary at that point.
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say, personally, I find descriptions of fight scenes in print to be it's like, and then he punched him and he blocked, and then he punched him and then he moved to the left and he blocked, and then he, like a lot of the times it gets like, and then he used his power. Whenever someone in a book or something is like, I'm going to use my powers, I'm like, all right, Sailor Moon,
Well, this one I think kind of like in its absence of over like, or not over description, but just like a lot of description, it kind of leaves you like potentially able to just sort of fill that space yourself as and like looking however you necessarily sort of want it to potentially, because I feel like we came off of one of our
Yes.
recent homework assignments as Badlands Cola, and they are very descriptive about like everything. So like this
At the
feels
same-
like the opposite side of that spectrum.
Yes, but at the same time, they don't leave enough space for you to fill in the battle in your head, right? Like you have to like revisit it, you know?
Very
Or
fast
like
battle.
what does Vicky scare? Well, like really, it's like like if the whole point is these like kaiju things, what does Vicky kaiju look like?
They kind of describe
Besides
Scarecrow in the first
a scarecrow,
episode.
but it kind of looks like Vicky. That was it. It's Scarecrow, but it kind of retains the look of Vicky. That was it.
Yeah. And as far as Scarecrow goes, I think the things that we know are like has sharp teeth and horns.
Definitely horns, yeah.
Question about the horns thing. So it's kind of like, because I started listening to a new band, Neon Oni, and they have the little Oni masks and they have the horns. And I'm like, why is it so prevalent across so many cultures for like your demon creature to
Mm.
have horns? Where does that come from?
Angry
actually a
animals
really good
being
question.
buttheads.
Goats. It's all goats.
All
It
goats.
Real-
No, because a lot
I
of this is
mean-
the weird thing. Where like a lot of predator animals don't have horns.
Right.
A lot of prey animals do. So you're right. Why is that a
Because they can still
Now,
be
okay,
assholes.
This is complete assumption made up right now. But so I think as far as a Western Christian nation goes, as a whole, I think calling demons, again, this is Judeo-Christian, calling demons the predators, I think puts them higher, like in a food chain concept than would be the angels. And no Bible thumper's going to allow that. They have to be something that was, and much like the fallen angels, they had to be something that was good that became evil. But they're definitely not
feel
the
like-
top tier.
Like it's probably as far as the Western tradition goes, like mixed up in the idea of like the scapegoat, the like, because devils having like cloven hooves and stuff like that, sort of goatee faces and horns and things
Yeah.
like that, as
That's
they
another
like
good-
load their sins up on an animal to like remove those sins.
We're gonna have to
essentially.
start talking
And
about
then you
Scarlet
sacrifice it.
Letter and like
And then, like,
nature
yeah.
versus society.
From
Well-
an Eastern perspective, like maybe it has to do something kind of more with like the nature of like oxen and whatnot being considered like a symbol of power in their own way. Like that's sort of the things that like if you wanted to move a big thing, that was the strongest thing around that could do that for you. So having the big like horns maybe might have had
Yeah.
something to do with it.
Like
Maybe.
a lot of the
It's-
time, they're
if
just
you
like little
know-
nubs.
It's so
I'm sure
tiny,
someone's going to
yeah.
correct us on this.
Please
one.
let us know
Well,
why
as-
demons
I'd
have
love a
horns.
full
Yeah, if
history
anyone
lesson.
knows.
Someone
Well, okay.
give us a voicemail.
Yeah,
Because I
yes.
genuinely want to know.
Okay,
Send us a
real quick, as
voicemail.
far as
We'll
the little
listen to it.
nubbies goes, and then Izzy brought to the cloven hooves, I mean, that's straight up just Christianity mocking Greek myth at that point. The satyrs.
That's true.
Fuck the
Because yeah, we
satyrs,
also
they're
have like
nasty.
Pan and Dionysus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So who
Hey,
got
remember what day-
conflated into the whole, problems people have with impulse control.
And then, of course, we have to make him look bad because you have to remember what day is Dionysus' birthday. It's
What
a
is
big
it?
one. Jesus' birthday.
Christmas.
Yep.
Well, on
But
that note,
that's a whole big thing for like
On
another
that note-
podcast.
Heck of a
We're
tangent.
not,
Yeah.
Sorry.
we're not here for theology, but we will get there every time.
that's just where our brains go.
Well,
Anyway,
there's demons, we kind of have to address the demons in the room.
That's true.
But I guess like these don't really feel like religious demons. These feel like what's a good
A generic
word?
term.
Like
yeah, we call-
not like what's like
Just feel like
interdimensional
like a-
demons kind of, because we have this
Mm.
void situation. The demons
Outsiders. Yeah.
obviously come from some sort of other realm that we're dealing with and can kind of blip in and out of our reality, but they don't really feel like religious demons.
I mean, like there are definitely categories of demon that are like non-religious. Like, you have psychological demons as just a concept in
Don't I know?
the field of psychology, where it's like they just brought that in there, and they're just like, yeah, no, people got voices in their heads that say bad things.
Demons.
Thank you, Young.
It must be demons.
Demons, must be demons.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the showrunner?
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, like, were you influenced by video games? Like, what were your influences? We'll start there. And if you listen to the end of their episode, they did do a shout out to a collective that was their sounding board. So that was nice to hear and to see. Like, it definitely felt more like for episode 1 had a like something it wanted to accomplish. So
Mm.
I just wanted to make sure that they got kudos for that.
I guess my big question is what is the audience you are intending to write for? Because at the beginning, I think they did say this is intended for mature audiences, but that could just be like, I'm a mature teenager. I'm not going to be like, Mom, I watched a show where they cursed, you know, and that kind of covers your bases if things do get really dark or violent or something. So I guess, because we are treating this as it is intended to be a young adult podcast or something for younger audiences. So I guess I'm wondering if that was intended or if like this is just meant to be more like a lighter, you know, less serious horror show for adults who maybe don't want to be like, wow, now I'm depressed.
Are elder millennials your intended like group that you're trying to pitch this to? Because
Which is
kind of
'Cause we're
working.
loving it.
Well, I need to point that out as like that is brilliant in the sense that like it is something. It's like watching Rocko's Modern Life, right? Where it's a kid's show, but nothing about the kid's show was for kids, right? Like
Baby,
it
oh
was
baby, oh
something
baby.
the adults in the room, and same thing with Rugrats. Like it's something adults in the room could watch and be entertained by, and something the kids in the room can be entertained by. So I just wanted to call out that if that's the intent, it's brilliant.
Done well. We all
And
picked up on it.
Parents and kids can watch to each other. Yeah.
And mine was just like, how much fun do you have writing the script? Because again, to cycle back all the way to Easy Breezy Beautiful Joke, which just stuck out for me. I actually loved it because it seems like a project that's just like we're having fun making something. Like almost recording it was almost a secondary thought. Like we just want to make this fun world. Like it could have been anything, comic book, whatever. And it was just like, well, why not go ahead and record it? It's a fun thing we're doing. And I'm curious, like how did this project come about? Was that it? Was this always intended to be a project for audio media, for audio drama, or is just a fun thought that just came together? And you're like, we know what we need to share this with the world.
Good one.
Do you have one, Morgan?
Well, I've been kind of writing some stuff down as we've been talking. So I also included what is horror to you, since that was such a big part of our discussion here. I wanted to see if, you know, maybe they had some input on what that would be.
Is Scarecrow based off of an Eastern demonology or a Western demonology?
I just assumed it was based on Batman. Yeah.
Batman.
All right. Do we have any final thoughts on the Custodians?
Looking forward to more episodes. What the best and worst thing about finding something that just came out is now I'm just like, I need more. I can't binge you, and I really want to.
Monthly releases.
Give it
Monthly releases.
Does that mean pickle no pickle?
Oh,
Pickle.
yeah. I mean, yeah. What's
Yeah.
the
Is that
pickle
where
on
we're
this
at?
one?
I compared it to Angel.
Hey.
I can't give it higher praise.
I give
That's
it a
fair.
quantum pickle.
Quantum pickle.
Quantum pickle.
Well,
What do you-
meaning like it's a yes and a no. It is a yes if you like Persona,
Schrodinger's
if
pickle.
you like anime, if you like 90s cartoons. But if you don't like any of those things, this is a don't listen to it because it's not going to fill your grim, dark, gritty, I need this grounded in something like that situation.
As a fan of Slaughter, I can agree with that. Even though I like it, yeah, it definitely does not scratch that itch even close.
Yeah, I think I'll add to the pickle lore and say that this is a gherkin. This is a horror for smalls, for smaller.
For smalls.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
yeah. Like I think if it's intended for teens, I think like again, not a teen, but I think there's something there. Maybe we should get more stuff out there for teens in podcasting, because like if they're just having to make do with all the stuff that's for adults, that's so sad, you know.
Oh.
So if you've got an idea, hit up Dabbed in Ink. Ashley, good luck.
Let's start some
Just need to
YA horror.
make more stuff. So it's like if that's the intention, like please, like more.
Mm-hmm.
More for me, also.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
will go for this. This It hits the nostalgia, like, notes really well. Just everything's good.
Yeah. This one's a pickle for me, too.
Yeah.
I was really into it. Plus, I love a YA. So
Dun 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 dun, Jessica.
Jessica.
No,
I see you biting your tongue.
The silence is powerful.
usually I can get away with not giving like a final decision, and you guys are like, you guys cover everything. I'm kind of torn because I just don't think that I'm necessarily the audience for this. I do think this is meant for a younger audience, and I love that. I don't think everything should have to be for me, especially since I think in a lot of media we see it's either intended for children and only children at this point. Nothing can be offensive. Nothing can, cause you to think or have to ask questions. Or it's intended for only adults. And there's a lot of sex and violence. And there's not really room anymore for like a middle grade or for like younger teens, because the older teens are going to go towards the adult stuff, because as you mature, you kind of go like a little bit above your age range. But there's nothing really for like, it's the same problem we're having in publishing right now, too. There's not a lot of books for middle grade. And so there's these periods in life that are just not getting a lot of attention, for like these developmental periods. And I think it's really cool to have something for this age range. It's just, maybe not necessarily for me because I'm old and crusty. So, but I like that it exists. I'm glad that it exists.
Only half of that is true.
Crusty? I'm the youngest here, so it must be crusty.
Why'd you gotta bring that up though? Why couldn't you just let that go?
Because I was watching our last episode where we talk about how old we are, and I just watched the light leave my eyes. And I'm like, oh no.
that's why we all thought you were
Girl,
older
you're
than you are.
spiraling.
There was no light in your eyes.
The question I think was really the light left your eyes because like, why don't I have younger friends? Why don't I have younger friends?
It's kind of better to have older friends, because I did go on like an international trip with a bunch of people, and then when we got there, I found out me and my husband were the oldest ones there, and I was like, these children
Ooh.
do not know. I was there when the tomes were written, and they quote them to me. I was like,
Oh, it happens all the time.
yeah.
All right. Any last words, last thoughts, last anything that we absolutely need to say about the Custodians?
It's fun. It's
please.
goofy and it's fun.
And I wonder if the production company does more things in this vein.
They did
I know
say
they've
they have
got
a
one
whole
more
other
show
audio drama,
listed.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
have no idea what it's about though. But also with the company name, I was expecting something different. I'm not disappointed.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was
I love their
pleasantly
little
surprised.
their little audio logo that they play.
Yeah, it's so gross, yeah.
And then those great.
It's very
Little
Nickelodeon.
life hit, little.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I think it's so
mhm,
cute.
Oh, yeah. I like
All right.
that.
Well, that wraps up today's discussion. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Hear It in Horror podcast. If you haven't already, we hope that you give the Custodians a listen. Let us know what you think. And if you have a horror podcast that you think that we should listen to and review, we would love to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, just comment below. If you're listening from your podcast streaming app, you can find a link to the listeners or to submit a suggestion in the show notes. Next time, we will be discussing Surcease. Until then, this episode ends, but the horror keeps on playing. Thank you and good night.
Ashley here, reminding you to check us out on Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes and when you join, are automatically invited to all the recording sessions. Follow us on Instagram at Hear It in Horror Podcast for all the updates. Hear It in Horror Podcast is brought to you by Dabbed in Ink. Here, adventure.